Okay, this is a quick run through for the purchase order module. I have not previously used this module. It was mainly for parts going to a warehouse location, so it could be utilized for inventory items or items that's not going to a specific truck. Um, Basically, you'd come down to add purchase order. You have the purchase order number up here that it would generate. And I'm sure we could set that to anything we'd want to for a start number. Vendor number, all you do is click on it or start typing, and it'll bring up all of our vendors. So say it was like JME sales, that would come up. Part location, this is where we'd have to set up each market or individual people like I set up in Ascend right now, so that it could be we show you where that's at. There's nothing set up currently. So when I start typing, it's going to tell me that there's no match found because there's not one. Labels is what type of part it's for. We'll say this was a AC part, which that could be changed. You can put anything you want into that column. Like that one that's not supposed to be there. I can't type. For down here, this is the actual totals. You can do line item. You can, under part, you can have what type of part it is. So like if it was gloves or invoices like that, you can do each individual line item, type in what it is, the cost and the quantity, or you can just type in the total amount, quantity of one, and you can do the same thing with if there's any sort of discount, shipping charges, taxes. Tax can be set to either a fixed amount, which is what's set now, or a percentage, so it will automatically pull it up, which we do with so many different places that probably wouldn't work real well. I have it set for fixed because that way I can just enter it in. You can drag the invoice directly over to it, and it will keep a copy of it in here attached to this purchase order. Type in any notes you want, save and approve, and that's all you'd have to do for that. I don't think this is going to work real well for what you're looking at to replace Ascend, just for the fact that there isn't a part in here where I can see that you would be able to change it from one to the other. To show you what I do with the work orders, which I believe will work better, but would have to change a little bit of how I enter in some of the information. If my computer would come up. So I go to work, add work order. It automatically assigns a work order number. They're in sequence. The problem here is this is going by unit number, so it assigns it to that unit number. For something that wasn't getting assigned to an individual unit, we would have to set up locations, I guess would be the best way to do it. Like if it was going to a certain market or a person, they would have to be set up as a vehicle in Fleetio. The issue with doing that is that we get charged by each vehicle. I believe it's $3 a vehicle a month. So we wouldn't want to have, if you added 13 or 14 different markets, that's one thing. But if you had to add a lot of other information in there, that could raise the bill up quite a bit, depending on what we're paying for Ascend right now. But say we choose this truck, we enter in the information for the mileage, its status right now, which I set all of these to close because they're done and over with. But we could change this to where they're left in an open status, and then when the invoice is paid, y'all change it from either open, pending, or completed. so that they show what the proper format. The issue date, which is the date, today's date. The start date, which is I usually backdate that to whatever date is on the invoice. And then the completion date, which if we was going back in and y'all was changing that, then I could leave this part blank for the completion date, and that could be changed when y'all closed out that invoice. Who it's issued by, and you can assign it to a certain person. I was assigning it, it just sends them that person an email letting them know that they have a work order assigned to them. I've stopped doing this just for the fact that most of the managers aren't reading it. The vendor, all of our vendors that we use now are set up in here. So same as on the purchase order screen. Start typing in a name or just choose one of them. Labels are the same for whatever the repair is. We can put in their unit number, so I'll just choose one. This right here is the purchase order number for that we use. That's where I put the Ascend number right now. If we weren't using the Ascend system, then we wouldn't need to fill in that amount. These two columns here, estimated amount and expense type, is where we put the total and whether it's CapEx or M&R. These are custom fields. We can add any custom fields we want into any of the screens, so that we can add in, any other information we need to track. We can add it onto here, and then it will show up on every invoice. When I enter in the invoices, I started putting in now the line items for what's being done to the units, whether it's labor, parts, and the total, and then the tax amount. And then I drag the actual invoices themselves, drop them into the documents section, so it has it in everything we need in there. And then I hit save work order, and that's done. To show you one that's completed. Sorry, my computer is so slow. Like this is the last one I did right here. It'll show up all of these. All mine, like I said, are set as completed. But it shows it was what truck it was, where the truck's located at. Last we knew. The Fleetio work order number is the 21229. The day that it was completed, because it's in green. The date it was complete shows as completed, and the duration between when it was started and when it was completed. This is the details from the line items and what label I gave it. So it was towed to D&K shop, and the label was towing. Who it was, it says assigned, but that's actually the shop that did the repair, and the total amount. If we open up that one, it gives you more information, the actual date. You can actually go down to the time level if you wanted to, but the estimated amount and type, which I don't know why I didn't get that one in there. I didn't do real well on that one. The invoice number and the purchase order number. This is out of the Ascend system again. The total amount, what it was, line items. I didn't finish this one at all. That's why I walked away from that one. Let's do JGS. Okay, it shows the total amount here, the M&R. It was a PM. Now that's interesting. Okay. My computer's not loading up any of the documents. Okay, here's what I was wanting to show you. You have all the information that you have on there, and then down under documents it shows a 1, and it shows that this was the actual invoice. You can view it, download it, edit it, or delete it, or you can add another document into it. So you can just click on that, eyeball, and it brings up the actual invoice from the customer that shows everything that we've done to it. So it helps a lot having the actual invoices stored in here as well. And this is for every one of them except for those last two that I don't know what happened to. Now, as far as the reporting, go to reports. What I do every month is I pull a work order list that's just for ones that were completed during this month. And it's just a spinning. And that comes up and tells me all of the invoices that I've entered for the month that were started this month. But you can export this to a CSV file, which is what I use to keep track of everyone. I export that and then import it back into a spreadsheet so that I can look at each market and each truck and see what's been done that month and what our numbers are. So you have a lot of flexibility there of what you can import and export. And I believe Scott said this can easily be pulled into Power BI as well. On the report, if you needed a different type of report, like the status summary, see if it'll let me still click on it. This shows how many are open, how many are pending, and how many are completed. Under filters, you can give it the time frame. Right now it's August 17, so I can put today, yesterday, last 7 days, last 30 days, or by the month. And in every one of these reports that you do, you can save it. So if I save this for this month, next month when I go into it, I can just click on that one report and it automatically updates the month because it's set for just by the month. So I changed this for the whole month of August, and then it updated. It tells me that there is 1 open, 8 that are pending, and 212 that are completed. So some of them, we don't bother with this part right now, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference for us if they're open or pending. But if we want to use this to replace a send, we can change that so that they stay open until y'all are working with them. You can also, under the reports, if you just need to see just the basic information, you can do that there. And forgot to tell you, you can click on each one of those and it would open up all of them. But you can also go to the reports for work order list. And then under filters, you can change the status for whichever status you want to look at. So we'll go pending. If you want to look for just certain vendors or just certain labels, certain people that you've assigned one to, or certain dates that it was issued, it was started, or it was completed, you can change all that in here. So like say only ones that was started this month and are pending. You can sort by the amounts, the individual vehicles. Vehicle groups would be what I have set up right now for each of the markets, how they're grouped together for everybody. That wouldn't mess with you too much there for the status of the vehicle itself. You can do the same thing by M&R or by CapEx, going by expense type equals, and then selecting M&R or CapEx. I'll remove that one. So right now I've just got pending this month. I'll hit search, and it tells me that there's nothing there. So I can go back, take off the status, just hit search. So it's just going to give me all the work orders for August. And you see here's 145 of them. And with this one, you can change different options for what you need to see as opposed to what I look at. So if you don't need to, see the issue by the start date or completion date or anything like that, like I don't have the status on here because I don't look at it. But I just add that there. Now it shows up over here as the status, and you can scroll down and see. Like I said, all of them are showing complete. So I think it will work. It'll take some understanding of what else you need it for other than assigning for the vehicles to see how we would do that. But if you have a chance to look this over, give me a call and I'll be happy to walk you through it. Probably best go through a Skype call, I guess, so that way you can actually see and have a better one-on-one interaction on what you need to know about it. But if you have any questions, just let me know. Bye.